So what we're going to go over today is music theory. You know, the piano. What are the notes? What are the name of the notes? How do I find them? Number two, we're going to go over what I think is like the most important aspect of music theory, which is the major scale. If you understand the major scale, I promise you, you can be playing some chords and some songs today. And we're going to get you there. Once you understand the major scale, then we're going to talk about 7 major chords of the major scale, which is really excites me, especially when I see people who take what we teach and they're able to apply it almost instantly. Once you understand how you're playing it, why, the equation in which it works, it's something you can apply to any key that you play in. So we've got a lot to talk about. I'm excited that y'all are here, and we're just gonna get right into it. All right. The piano is simply 12 notes repeated over and over on this piano bed, right? So I'm just gonna hit the spectrum of what those notes are, and then we're gonna go and identify all of them. So from here to here, as you can see, from C to B, you can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 notes. So these 12 notes, are the same 12 notes just repeated. The piano is made up of 12 unique notes. So when you look at the piano, you'll see in the top layer, you'll see 2 black notes and 3 black notes. On the bottom layer, you'll see 7 white notes. So the piano is made up of 7 white notes and 5 black notes, just repeated over and over again. Okay? So the division of 2 notes on the top layer, you have 2, and then you have 3, and then 2 and 3, 2 and 3 repeated. If you're at a piano, you can go ahead and just hit those 2 and 3 to see, so your eye can see the division in which the piano is made up of. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay. All right. So let's talk about these 2 black notes. All right. And I'm going to go real basic. So on one side of the 2 black notes is, to the left of those 2 black notes is C. So a lot of people, and even I, have said this before, these 2 black notes look like chopsticks, right? The 2 familiar with chopsticks, I'm sure. 2 chopsticks. To the left of the C chopsticks is C. All right. And then you've got what a lot of people refer to as the fork. You know, this 3-prong right here. And on the left side of the fork is, guess what? F. Okay. So let's go back to the division of 2. And then to the left of that is C. I want you to go all the way up the piano bed, up and down, and hit every C that you can find. Okay. Have a little bit of fun with it. If you have a sustain pedal, if you know what that is, you can hold it down, hold the note. These are all your C's. So you see that your piano bed is made up of a bunch of C's just repeated up and down this. Okay. So we have C. All right. And then we're going to start at C. I know the alphabet starts at A, but I like starting at C just because this is how I like to divide my eye to see the piano. So we have C, and then we'll continue with the alphabet. Next white note is D. The next white note is E. The next white note is F, G, A, B, and then C. You notice after G, we went back to A, okay? B, C. So it's, you can start at A if you like, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, or we can start at C. So you find your 2 chopsticks, those 2 black notes, and there is C, okay? C, D, E, F, G, A, C. All right. So then let's go and find all of our D's on here. So a way you can find D is, a lot of people will say these are like the two black notes on the top layer is the dog ears. And then this middle note right here in between is D. It kind of looks like the dog and the tongue, you know, kind of thing. But that's D. So find all your D's. Okay. And you can pause this video as much as you want and post and find it and, you know, play around with it. So C, D, and then the next note on the right of the two black notes is E. All right. And we're going to keep on moving. As I said before, the division of 3 notes on the top. To the left of that, fork, we have F. All right. So let's find all of our F's. F, G, A, B, C. Okay. So I like doing this so that you can kind of start thinking about it. Is I like playing the note and saying the name of it as I play it. So let's do this together. So let's start with our right hand thumb on C. Okay. And then our pointer finger, let's go to D. And then our middle finger can go to E. All right. And then our thumb will go to F. Pointer finger, G. Middle finger, A. Ring finger, B. And then your pinky can go to C. Okay. Let's do that again. Thumb on C. Pointer on D. Middle on E. Thumb again, underlap it to the F. And then pointer is on G. Middle is on A. Okay, ring is on the B, C. Okay. All right. So let's identify the names of these. We've identified the names of the white notes, and then let's identify the names of the black notes. But before we do that, I want to explain something to you. There's a thing such as sharp notes and flat notes. The note forward is a sharp note. The note behind is referred to as a flat note. So I'll explain what that means. So let's say we're at C. So let's take our thumb and play C. Okay. If we go to the next note, which is that top first black note on the division of 2, that note is, if we go forward, is sharp. The names of the black notes can only be a sharp or a flat name. So you have C, and then the next immediate black note ahead, it will be called C sharp. Okay? You can see on my screen it names it D flat, but there's a purpose in that too. So anything forward is sharp, C sharp. If we go to D, the note before it is the same note that we just hit, but if we go before it, it's called D flat. So a note behind, if it's a black note or sometimes a white note too, can be called D flat. So this has 2 names, C sharp and D flat. Okay, so we have C, C sharp, and or D flat, D. Okay, and then the next note would be then called D sharp and or E flat, because it's ahead of D and behind E. So D sharp or E flat. Then we have E, and then we have the next note is F. But cool thing is, F and E also have multiple names. We'll get into that later. So F, the note ahead of F is what? You know, F sharp. Okay? And or it can be called what? If it's behind G, it can be then called G flat. So there's 2 names for this note. It's the first note of the division of black notes, and it's F sharp or G flat. Okay? Of course, we have G next. All right. Then the next immediate note would be called G sharp and or A flat. It's the note behind A. All right, we go to A. Okay, and then the next immediate note would then be called A sharp because it's ahead of A, or it's after A, excuse me. And then we also have what we call B flat because it's before B. Okay, B and then C. So let's do this together. Take both hands and let's start at C and let's play octaves. Octaves just means 8 notes apart. So it's the same note, but at just 8 intervals away from each other. So that's C octave, okay? So find your C. I'll give you a second. Find your C's. You can use the division of 2 black notes, and it's to the left of the. There we go. You got it? I'm sure you do. Okay, C, and then let's go up to the next immediate note. C. Let's go forward to D flat or C sharp, okay? Then next is D, and say it out loud. And then the next note is D sharp and or what? If you said E flat, that's correct. And then the next note is E, okay? The next note then is F, all right? Then the next note is F sharp, correct? And or it could be called what? If you said G flat, you're right, all right? So then we have G. The next note ahead of G is G sharp, okay? And or, because it's behind A, it's called what? A flat, correct. All right, A. All right, ahead of A is A sharp and or, as you can see on the screen, B flat. Then we have B, and then we have C, okay? Now, some of these notes can be called, some of the white notes have double names also, okay? So, let's start at C. Because there is no black note or flat note between C and B, C can be called B sharp, okay? And B could be called C flat. You see that? Because they're the notes right next to each other, anything ahead or behind can be called a flat or sharp. So we have E also. E can be referred to as F flat, right? And then F can be referred to as E sharp, okay? And if you really wanted to get into heavier theory, we can explain that in a different class, but we're not going to really get into that today, all right? So one more time, let's do this. I want you to be able to apply what you're learning immediately. That's why this class is 90 minutes. One more time, let's name the notes. Hopefully you're at a piano. If not, you can just name them with me. All right, C and or B sharp, right? Okay, the next note, C sharp, D flat. Next, D. Next note is D sharp and or E flat, good. The next note is E. For extra credit, what's the other name for E? If you said F flat, that's correct, okay? All right, F flat, and then the next note is F. What's another note for F? If you said E sharp, you are correct. Next, F sharp, good, and or G flat, great. Then we have G, okay? Ahead of G, tell me. G sharp. If you said G sharp, you are correct. A flat, all right? Next note is A, all right? Next note is A sharp and or B flat. Good, you got it. All right, and then we have B. For extra credit, tell me the other name for B. I think somebody said it. Yes, C flat, good. All right, and then the next note is C and or C could be called, because it's ahead of B, it could be called B sharp. Okay, cool. So far we identified with our eyes how to find C by the division of 2, right? And this is just repeated all over the piano bed, right? So if I said find C's, you can easily go and find your C's, okay? And then we identified the name of every note. And we also came to the realization that there are only 12 unique notes on the piano, and those 12 unique notes from C to B are just repeated over and over on the piano bed, right? Can be played in 12 different key options. So, and we pick songs and the keys that songs are played in based on many times the vocalist, especially if it's a song with lyrics, the vocalist's ability and their range. So we could play a song like Amazing Grace. We can play that in C, right? But we also can play it in D flat, D, E flat, E, F, right? So on forth. Okay? A major scale consists of 8 notes, okay? And so in C, it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, okay? Now, today when I talk about the major scale in C, we're also going to name them by the name of the key, but we're also going to number them and call them numbers. So we can say C or 1, D, or we can say 2 because we're talking about C, the key of C, and the major scale in C. So 3 would be E, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, C is B, or excuse me, Lord, B is 7, and then we're at 8, or you can say 1, because 8 and 1 are the same note. It's an octave, but they're just 8 intervals apart. So we have the first interval being C, the second interval being D, the third interval being E, fourth F, fifth G, A is a 6, B, and then C. Okay? So if I said to you, hey, key of C, play 1, 3, 5, using the knowledge of this major scale, C being 1, then you'll be like, okay, 1, skip my 2, which would be D, 3 is E, and 5 would be skip F, which is 4, 5, right? Then if I said 2, 4, 6, 1, then you would play D, F, 6, A, and then 1 is C. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, or 8. Okay? To play a major scale, you have to play whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And I'll explain what that means. So remember this. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If I'm on C, if I go a half step, I just go to the next note. So from C, a half step would be C sharp or D flat, right? To go from C and to go a whole note will be skipping D flat note and going straight to D. So to go a whole step, you have to skip the immediate step. Okay? So you skip a step, that makes it a whole step. You go to the next step, and that's a half step. Okay? So the equation for the major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So if I am on C, which is 1, if I want to go to the next note in the major scale, I have to go a whole step. So in the key of C, the whole step would be going from C to D, right? And then if I am on D, which is the second note in the major scale, the next note is a whole step. So D to E. All right. The third note in the major scale is E, right? Which requires us to go a half step to stay within the scale. So from E, the next note in that scale is F, right? And that's just a half step. There's no black notes between that. Okay. And then, so F is 4. F is your fourth note in the major scale of C. So from F, from the 4 to the 5 requires a whole step. So F, you will have to skip F sharp and go to G, right? And then from G, which is your fifth note in the scale, you go to the sixth note, which requires a whole step. 6 requires a whole step to the 7, which means your A to B, and then your seventh note requires a half step to back to the 1. Okay, so I'll play it right here. So we start at the root note. So if I say key of C, you will go to C, and then I'll say play the next note in the scale. You will go a whole step. So whole, another whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay. Now there's different ways to learn music. I didn't learn this when I began playing. It just, my ear could hear it, and that sounded right to me. Right? Your ear can hear when I play a bad note. So I want you to understand that you can learn music multiple ways. You can learn by playing by ear. You can learn by understanding theory. You can learn by having a teacher explain it. So, but I want you to realize that your ear is powerful and it can hear the wrong notes too. So we're going to play a little exercise where I actually play the wrong notes in the scale. All right. And keep your microphone muted, but scream when you hear the wrong note. And I think we're going to be on the same page. So I'm going to intentionally play some wrong notes in the scale. And as soon as you hear it, just scream. Okay. Here we go. Ah! Did you hear that? Let me do it again. Right? The major scale is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's not do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. See how that's wrong? See how your ear can hear when it's right? So, do. Okay? Watch this. We're going to take this same rule that we applied in the key of C. Now remember, there's 12 keys. So we're just playing in this key of C right now. I'm going to go up to the key of D flat, and I'm going to apply these rules with you. So let's make a major scale in D flat. And I got some really good news coming up for you about how important knowing these 8 notes is. Okay, so we have D flat. To go a whole step from in D flat would require me to skip D, right, and go to E flat. So D flat is my 1, whole step from 1 to the 2, E flat. E flat requires me, because it's the second note in the scale, to go another whole step. So even though I really want to hit this next one, which is the white one, the E, I have to skip E and go to F. Okay. So this scale in D flat requires both black notes and white notes. I'll say Martin Luther King would be happy about this. Okay. So we got D flat, E flat, F. All right. F is the third note in the scale. And because it's the third note in the scale, it requires us to go up a half step. So we go up to the immediate step, right? So we got F sharp, or G flat is the fourth note in this scale, right? From the 4 to the 5 is a whole step. So we have to go a whole step from G flat to A flat because we skipped G, right? And then from G flat to B flat. 5 to the 6 is a whole step. 6 to the 7 is another whole step. So we have to skip B and go to C. And then now we're back home to D flat. I want to show you one thing. D flat, E flat, F. Okay? We then would have to name this in the D flat scale, this next note, G something. See how I named it D something, E something, F something? It would then, the next note in the scale will have to be named G flat. Okay? And then the next note in this scale would need to be named A something. So A flat. Then the next note in the scale needs to be named B something. Because you can't repeat F, F, or you have to keep on going in the alphabet. So we have B flat, and then the next note has to be named C something. And it happens to be C. And then we're back to D flat. So using this rule of the major scale, you can find every major scale in every key. Okay? So I want you to apply this rule on your own time and find the major scale in every key. So again, the rule is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? So I said I had some good news for you. The good news is these 7 unique notes in the major scale. So in the key of C, these notes are the notes that you use to make your chords. So we already explained that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unique notes in the major scale. 8 is just the same as 1, okay? So that's what I meant when I said I want to teach you the 7 chords in the major scale. If you're familiar with church and playing in church, you're familiar that there is a thing called the number system, where a singer, if they kind of get into a spontaneous moment, or a musician, a music director, they can call out numbers. I say numbers wrong, but numbers. So if they say 1, I'll just go and hit 1. If they say 2, 2, 3, so on and 4. Okay? Each note in the major scale has a supporting chord that goes with it. Okay? So I want you to grasp this concept. There are 7 chords in the major scale. 3 of the chords are major chords. 3 of the chords are minor chords, and 1 of the chords is a diminished chord. So, one more review. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or we can say in C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're back to 1 or 8, but I'm going to say 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So if I say, let's play a C chord with my right hand, all you're going to do to make any chord in the major scale is you're going to play a note, skip a note, play that note. Okay? So to make your C chord, you're going to play C as your root note. You're going to skip the next note in the scale, which is D, right? Skip D and play a note. E, skip a note, F, and play a note. G, okay? I want you to understand that a chord is just 3 notes played at the same time, okay? It's either called a chord or some people call it a triad, 3, okay? So a chord is simply 3 notes being played together, all right? And you have, if you're playing this right now, C, E, G, you have successfully played a C chord. Let's take our left hand and let's play a C down here, okay? And for my left hand, I kind of get creative when I play like a single note. Sometimes I'll play with my pointer. Sometimes I'll play with my pinky. Sometimes I'll double the note and play octaves. So I'll play a C and a C. That makes my chord sound fuller. Okay? Get fun with it. Get dramatic with it. Sometimes I'll play a left hand chord. C, E, G. Okay? Sometimes I'll play the note C by itself, and then I'll play E and G together. Okay? You can get creative. But let's play C, E, G together. Or we can say what? If we're talking about numbers, we can say the 1, 3, 5. Okay? That's a C chord. Okay? Another way to make a major chord, another way to make your C chord is you can start at your root note, C, and you can go 4 half steps up to get to the next note in the chord. So let's go 4 half steps up. All right. So when I mean 4 half steps, I mean count C sharp, D, E flat, E. That's 4 steps up. That's my next note to make the major chord. All right. And then I can go 3 half steps up, starting from E, go to F, 1, 2, 3. That's another way to make a major chord. So you have the root note, 4 half steps, and then 3 half steps. That makes a major chord. Okay? So one way to think of it is if you're in the scale C, play a note, skip a note, play a note, okay, and skip a note. 1, 3, 5. So your root chord in any major scale, the 1 chord is 1, 3, 5. Or if you're looking for the C chord, you can just play C, 4 half steps up, and then 3 half steps. Or you can think C, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, play a note in the scale. All right. So, but let's talk a major scale. If you just go at C and then you just go up, every finger just goes up in the scale to the next note, B and D, you just follow that mode, and now you're playing D minor, which is the second note in the C major scale. Okay, so your 2 chord in any scale is going to be a minor chord unless it's otherwise specified. So D minor, let's keep on going up the scale using every note in the scale. So then we go to E, skip a note, skip F, play G, skip A, play B. There's a minor chord, okay? F, G, A, B diminished, and then we're back to C. And if you don't like how high it sounds, you can always come down an octave. Just come down a whole section. Okay? So, there are 7 chords in the major scale. And I told you that there are 3 major chords, 3 minor chords, and then 1 diminished chord. So, our major chords in any scale is going to be your first note, which is in this key, it's F. And then it's going to be your 4th note. It's going to be a major chord. And your 5th note, it's going to be a major chord. So C, F, and G are major chords in the major scale. And then we have D, E, and A. These are going to be our minor chords, naturally minor chords in the major scale. So see, there's still notes in the scale, notes of the scale, but they become a minor chord. I'll explain what a difference between a minor chord and a major chord in a second. So you have D minor, E minor, and A minor. Okay. And then we have the next chord. the seventh chord is always a diminished chord. Okay? So let's play our chords together. We're going to take a little bit of time and come up with our chords. So C, you play the C, E, and G. Remember, it's root note 4.5 steps and then 3.5 steps. Okay? Then we're going to go up the scale to the next chord, D minor. Good. Next, E minor. Okay? And then we're going to go to F. So F, skip a note, go to A, skip a note, C, F, A, C. Okay? Next note, next chord is G, G, B, D. And see how we're still skipping a note and playing the next note in the scale. Skipping a note, playing the next note in the scale. Okay, A minor. Yep. And then stay in the scale, go to the B chord, and that becomes a B diminished chord, and then we're back to C. I want to show you that you can play almost any song if you understand the numbers in the scale. You can play so many songs. So let's play, let's pick a song. A popular song right now, Goodness of God, right? So let's say we're in the key of C. All I'm going to tell you is play the 4 chord, and then we're going to play the 1 chord. So the 4 chord, if you know what the 4 chord in the key of C is, and you do now, it's going to be F chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we said that the F chord in the major scale is major. So you would play an F chord. So if I'm in church and I say, hey, let's go to the key of C, I'm like, go to the 4. You would go to F. All my life you have been faithful. 1. Faithful. Good. Back to the 4. F. All my life you 1 have been so good. Now say 5. That's G. Right? So you play G, skip a note, play the B, skip a C, and play the D. I'll say go back to the 4. Every F, whatever the words, I am 1. I will sing 4. 5 of the goodness, 1 of God. Okay. Now I'm gonna change the octave and play a little bit lower, so it'll sound like this. C, back to the F or the 4. C, G, C, or F, excuse me, F, 4, 1, 4, 5. Let's go to the 6. God, I will sing 4, 5 of the goodness, 6 of God. See how easy this is? 4, I will sing 5 of the goodness, 6 of God. 5, 4, 5, 1. Okay? So let's review some things. The major scale has 8 notes in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 can also be called 1, right? They're the same notes. Okay? And there's 7 chords in the major scale. So C chord, D or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And what's cool about that is the notes of the scale are also the notes that we use to figure out the chords in the major scale, C major scale. Okay. So let's do the song, the popular. Let's go to C. Okay. All right. We're gonna go to the 4 chord, the F chord. So let's go to F. So F, A, and C. You are here. Moving. Go to the 1. Every life. I don't know the words. Forget it. I worship you. 5 or G. And then 6. This is the A minor. Okay. And let me say this. A lot of songs are just 4 chords. So if we know what the 4 chord is, F, 1 chord, C, right? 5 chord is a G. And then the 6 chord is a minor. Then we've learned how to play this whole song. So you are here, F4, 1, 5, and then we go to the 6, 4, 1, 5, 6. I kind of made up my own signs, but this is 1, 2, obviously, 3, 4, and then 5, and then I just make this 6, and then then I just make this 7 because it looks like a 7, right? So you got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's better to do 1 with your pointer finger and not your middle finger, because in church that would mean something different. Note to self. Okay. The number system. There are 7 numbers that we refer to basically in what we call the number system. It's technically called the Nashville number system. And it's basically a way to communicate a song just talking numbers. The numbers that we are referring to. Oh, hey, I got a laugh in the chat. That's great. The numbers that we are referring to are based on the major scale, okay? So if we knew the major scale in C, which we do know now, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, right? Root, whole, half, whole, half. We know the scale, and now we know the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. These numbers that I'm referring to are the numbers of the scale. So if I told you in the key of C, the song is 3, 6, 2, 1. And I told you it's 3, 6, 2, 1. 3, 6, 2, 1. Then we would go and figure out what the 3 is. And we know that the 3 is E minor, okay? So 3, 6, and then the 6 in the key of C is A minor, because the 3 is always a minor chord unless otherwise specified. So if they said the 3, if we're in the key of C and they say play a 3 major, then we would play an E major chord versus an E minor chord. In a second, I'm gonna tell you the difference between a major and minor chord. I know I'm skipping ahead, but I'm having a little bit of a good time. So 3, 6, A minor, 2 is D, right? And that chord is minor. And then 1 is C. So the 1 chord is major in the major scale. The 2 chord is minor in the major scale, excuse me. The 3 chord is minor in the major scale. The 4 is major. The 5 is major. The 6 is minor. And then the 7 is diminished. unless otherwise specified. And then we're back to the 1, okay? So if I said the song is 3, we would go to E minor, 6, A minor, then we'll go to 2, D minor, right? And then 1, C. And they're like, that's the whole song. Repeat it again. 6. Right? I'm going a little bit fast. I'll slow down. 4 or 2. My bad. And then 1. Okay. How many keys are there, or different keys are there on the piano? Somebody write the answer in the chat. How many different keys are there on the piano? Just repeat it over and over. Yes. Lily, correct. Yes. Jessica, yes. I think it was Darren or somebody else typed it. So yes, there are 12 keys. Okay. Good. So there's 12 different keys that we can play. Yes, William, Wilter, Willif. There are 12 keys. Okay, we're having fun with false answers. There are 12 keys on the piano. Let's talk about the major scale. How many notes are in the major scale? How many notes are in the major scale? Okay, yes, 7 unique notes, but we don't end on 7 because it would feel undone. So we have, if we end right there, we're like, give me closure, complete this. Yes. So technically you can say 7 unique notes, but 8 total notes. Okay, so both are right, but I understand 7 unique notes. Cool. So 8 notes in the major scale. Tell me, y'all, the equation for finding the major scale in any key. So what's the equation? It starts with whole. If somebody can write out the whole equation. Okay. Oh, Darren, appreciate you, man. Darren got it. Okay, let me see what he wrote. He has whole, half, whole, half. Correct. So I want you to understand, and I hope everybody is understanding that you can apply these rules to any key. All right. I like, when I'm trying to learn the scale in a key, I like taping it out. Okay. So do you, if your teacher has told you not to, yes, Jayla, you're correct. Jessica, yes, you're correct. So let's go to some funky key that most people don't like. Usually, let's go to E flat. I love E flat, but let's go to E flat. Let's make the whole scale real quick, just to prove that this is going to work anywhere. So E flat's my root note. Somebody tell me what my 2 note in E flat is. Just type that 1 note, the 2 note. So to go from the 1 to the 2 would be a whole step. Yes. F is correct. If you typed in F, Lily, good job. Okay. And then my 3, what is my 3? 2 to 3 is a whole step, right? It requires a whole step. So my 3 note is G, correct. All right. My 4th note is what? Y'all beat me to this. Good. A flat. Beat me to the 5th. The 4th to the 5th is a whole step, right? B flat, correct. The 5th to the 6th is a whole step, okay? C, bless your life, Wilton. The 6th to the 7th is another whole step, right? D, okay? And then we're back to the 1, okay? So I like taping out a chord. I like taping out a key because I like to get used to seeing all the rules and how that key works, all right? As we understand, the notes in the major scale are also the notes that make the chords in that key. All right. So if my eye can get used to all the rules to that key, I can play fluently in it. And especially if I spend time. So what my two boys, what I have them do is I'll have them come and tape out, just using painter's tape. We don't keep it up. We like take it down right after, but I'll have them come and play or spec out a key. I say, hey, choose the key you want to play in today. And they'll be like, all right, we're going to play E flat. I said, all right, go spec it out using the major scale. So instead of them playing video games, sometimes like have your children get to the piano, spec out a key, decide, and then I can just give them numbers, any numbers to any song, and they can play in that key, right? So this is the cool thing. So you just see I just taped out E flat. So now I can see that E flat consists of E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. Now, this is what a lot of musicians, especially church musicians, don't do, is they don't take the time necessary to learn how to flow in every key, which if we're talking church, it hinders a service, especially if it's a spontaneous moment. Then we have to decide, okay, the singer decides, okay, we won't sing this song, or we only can flow in this key, and it just starts making things a little bit tougher. So this is why I get to go all over the world playing, is because I've learned how to play in every key fluently. And I'm still learning, but I'm still challenging myself. I'm still learning things and finding different ways to play things. So if we spec out E flat like this, right, then I will play, I know that my first chord in E flat is 1, 3, 5. So let me take the tape off to make it look easier for y'all, and you can see. But so 1 is E flat, E flat, and then I skip the 2 note, which is F, right? Then I play my 3rd note, which is G, and B flat. Okay, as a keyboardist, you have to accept the way different keys feel. E flat feels different than what the key of C will feel like, okay? And that's where most players stop, is they're not willing to conform to the different form of that key, honestly. And so it's kind of a hard decision. This sounds deep, but it really is. You have to decide that I'm okay with learning what E flat feels like, because it doesn't feel like what C feels like. So here's my E flat chord, right? And then my next chord would be a F chord. And that F chord is a minor chord, right? So I play the 2 note, I skip the 3, play the 4, right? Skip the 5, which is B flat, and play the 6. And then if I know the scale, skip and play. That's 3, and that's going to be a minor key. See how this all works? Then the 4th is naturally going to be a major chord. The 5th is naturally going to be a major chord. And I'm still sticking to the notes of the scale. The 6th is going to naturally be a minor chord, right? C minor. 7 is going to naturally be a diminished chord, right? So if we took the number that we learned in the key of C for Waymaker and we applied it to E flat, if I say it's 4, Waymaker, miracle 1, promise keeper, light in the 5, B flat, my God, 6, that is who you are, right? So it still works. If you know the number and you know the scale, you can find any song. 5 or 1, 5, 6. Okay? And And as you go, you'll start just understanding, okay, minor, major, this, that. But let's review it. So the 1 note in E flat or in any key is a major chord. The 2 is always a minor. 3, minor. 4, major. 5, major. 6, major. 7, diminished. 1. I'll be honest with you. I never play the diminished chord on my 7 when I'm really playing in church. It's just 5 over 7 usually. So I play my 5th chord, which is, okay, let's go back to C. So I'll play my 5th chord in C, which is G, over the 7th bass note. And that's called a slash chord. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. I feel it in my spirit. And then I don't play a 3 minor chord, even though that's specified. I usually play the 1 chord over the 3. Let me clean my piano real quick. I hope I'm not making some of these advanced people cringe because I taped it, but it is what it is. This is who I am. This class is free, so I don't care about your opinion, honestly. So we have, so a lot of times if I'm playing the 7 bass note, let's say we're in C, I'm usually playing the 5 chord over B. And then if I'm playing the 3 chord, which is D, I usually play a 1 chord over E. Excuse me, the 3 chord is E. So my flows look like this. Let me jump a little bit and teach you how awesome what you've learned and how you can make this stuff work for you. Okay, so we have, let's say we're back to C, right? Let's play C together. I'm going to teach you right now with 1 note change the most popular worship progression in the world, okay? All right, this is the most popular worship progression and most used. We use it every service, everywhere uses this, okay? So let's go to C. C is C, E, G. Also, it's, if we're talking numbers, 1, 3, 5, okay? All right, and then I will play another chord in the C chord, which is called a C suspended 4 chord, or we call it C sus 4. So suspended chord, a suspended 4 chord is when you take your 3rd note and you shift it to the 4th note. So suspended sus 4, right? This is a suspended sus 4 chord. So you're playing 1, 4, 5 in C. And your left hand stays on the C, right? So you have a C suspended 4 chord, and then we're gonna resolve it back down to the C chord. All right? This right here is the most popular worship progression and the one you'll use the most. So let's say we play the Waymaker song, my God, that is who you are. Come on, y'all, let's just worship him. You'll go to a C, worship him, right? And then you play that C, that C chord. And now we'll go to the C suspended 4 chord. And then if you just say C sus, usually it's just meaning the C sus 4. You see how you just change your pointer finger from the E to the F? All right. Now, let's talk real quick. Any chord that you play can be embellished and or enhanced or just continued. So with my thumb, I am playing the C, E, G, right? You can apply this, what I'm going to show you, to any chord. You can take what you have at the top and put, or excuse me, what you have at the bottom and put at the top. So I'm going to play this C, E, G with a C at the bottom, but I'm also, since my hand is long enough, I'm going to play a C at the top. And see how that just extends the sound, widens the sound. So we can play that, and then we're going to go to the C suspended 4 chord, So you take that pointer finger, go up to the F. See? So if we're talking the numbers of this, we're talking 1, 3, 5, 1, or 8. 1, 3, 5, 1. Right? 1, 4, 5, 1. So you can take any chord in the C major scale and embellish it by just playing octaves. So I'm basically playing octaves, right? And adding the 3 and the 5 in there. Okay? So you can do this. We can go up the scale, go to D minor, use octaves. I'm gonna come down the octave and play my G with the octaves down here because it's getting too high, and just start working my nerves a little bit. 6, right? The 7, 1. Okay, so let's play that C chord together, and then let's go to the C suspended chord. So apply this in every key. Take this major scale rule, find out the major scale, and then you can find all your chords. So you can find your chords by using the number system, or you can find your chords by using this half step, whole step rule. So a major chord, if I say play me a C major chord, we'll play the root note C. We'll go 4 half steps and play our third interval note, and then we'll go 3 half steps and play the 5th. So it's the 1, 3, 5 interval. Okay? Now, I said I was going to teach you the difference between a major chord and a minor chord. Okay? The difference between a major chord and a minor chord is what you do with the the number 3 interval. Okay? So this middle note is on the 3rd interval, which is E. To make a minor chord, you just take this 3 note and flatten it. That's the only difference. So we would say, we will call this 1 flat 3 and the 5. Cool? So 1, 3, 5 is a major. 1 flat 3, 5. Okay? So if you ever wanted to find a major chord in any key that you're playing in, it's 1 and then the flat of the 3 in the major scale, and then the 5th note in the major scale. Another way we can find it, if we're sticking with what we've learned before, start at the root note, and instead of going 4 half steps, we only go 3 half steps to find the next note in the minor chord. Okay? And then now we go 4 half steps to find the next note. There you go. You now, if you apply this major, you go find any song in the world, apply this rule, get on Google, find a song, apply this rule, you can play 85% of popular music just knowing what your major, or minor. Let's do this together. Let's go to A flat. Find the A flat note, okay? So it's the note right before A, and you know where A is, right? This is A, right? A flat. I want you to play me an A flat chord using these rules that I've taught you. Let's go the 4 half step rule first. So we start at A flat, okay? We're gonna take 4 half steps to find our next note in that A flat chord, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then 3 half steps to find the 3rd note in the chord. 1, 2, 3. So if a song on Safari tells you to go and find an A flat chord, there you go. All right, Now it's up to you how you keep this ever before you, learning how to play these chords. So what I do is I write stuff down. I'll talk about them. I'll mutter it to myself, almost like how we like meditate on other stuff. I would meditate on this stuff. I would talk about it. I would test myself on this stuff. I would play it more than anything. I don't make it too mental. I try and play it. Okay? So here's your A flat chord. If we want to make this chord minor, we're going to take the 3 or the second note in this chord. We're going to flatten it. So whichever one is the 3 note in that scale, which is C, 1, 2, 3, and then A flat major scale, we're going to flatten that and we're going to make it a minor chord, right? So let's find the minor chord using the other rule. A flat, 3 half steps up, good, and then 4 half steps up. There you go. Major, minor. Okay? All right? So that's how you find a major chord, and that's how you find a minor chord. Okay? Using the number system, this is every chord on the piano, every key. So you have C all the way to B, right? And then if you look at C and you look over and it has the 1 there, C is 1 and the C major. D minor is the 2 chord, 3. 4 is the F, G. A minor is the 6 chord, and then 7th is a B diminished, right? So if you wanted to test yourself and go and find all these chords, you can find the chords 2 different ways, using the major scale rule, the equation, or you can find any major chord using the system that we talked about. 4 half steps from the root, and then 3 half steps from the root finds a major chord. And then if you're at the root and you go 3 half steps, you find the minor chord, and then you go 4 half steps to finish off finding that chord. So here are all your chords. Okay? Using the major scale. If you can learn these chords, you can become fluent in church. So we talked about how to make a chord. You take your root note plus 4 half steps, 3 half steps, right? And here's an example for you. And then we talked about how to make a minor chord, right? And so it's the root note plus 3 half steps and 4 half steps. So I want to show you a few things that you can do that's going to take your playing to the next level. Number 1, learn your major scale in every key. Okay? Learn all your chords in every key. Okay? So learn your chords in every key. Learn the scales in every key. More than anything, just learn songs, because these songs are going to teach you all this. Have fun. Like, don't make this boring. I did not go and like learn every scale just trying to figure out. I learned a lot of songs, and those songs taught me scales. I learned a lot of music, and that inspired me to keep on figuring out how to play in different keys. Okay? So it's a combination, and you're just going to, if you can gauge it by having fun yet finding the balance of challenging yourself, that's going to be the best for your maturity and your longevity to stick with it, right? Because most keyboarders just don't stick with it. And so they don't stick with it because they usually get down on themselves because they feel a type of way about whatever they're playing. So if you can just don't quit and, okay, so learn your major scale, learn your chords in the major scale. And then if we want to talk next level, remember how I taught you C? Okay, I'm going to play it down here. The next level is being able to play your chords at any inversion. So what do I mean by inversion? You can take a C chord, right? And you can take this C that I'm playing down here and bring it up here. So I'm playing a C chord, not at the root, but I am playing it now at the first inversion. So we have C, which is the 3, 5, and the 1. And because there's 3 notes in this chord, there's 3 different inversions, all right? So we have the first inversion, the root chord, first inversion, second inversion. Second inversion is the 5, 1, 3. So it's a combination. So 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, 1, 5, or 5, 1, 3. And let me show you what that does to open up your plan. So if I'm playing a song and the first chord is C, 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 C. So I just took the root chord, went down to the other inversion, which is a 5, 1, 3, and then I concluded it with the next inversion down, which is the 3, 5, 1. Okay? So C, invert, invert, D minor, invert, invert. Okay? The 3 chord, invert, invert. 4 chord, invert. Yep, 5, 6, 7. Oh. 1. Okay. So what y'all hear when you hear advanced people playing, you hear them using inversions to communicate. So like in the key of C, we have C, right? And then the next chord in the scale is D. If I played, right, D minor, I can play C, D minor, the first inversion of C, D minor inverted up, C, D minor, C. If I just know those 2 chords and their inversions, I can invoke a new level of inspiration. Watch this. So let's say we're playing the Waymaker. Waymaker for miracle worker, 1 promise keep, light in the darkness, 5, my God, that is who you, 6. Watch, I'm gonna use this 1, 2, 4. Watch, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I did a C, D, 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 C. See how I just played 2 chords, but I use those chords because I know the inversions of those chords. It's a little advanced, but if you learn your inversions on all your chords, they start working together to give you better vocabulary with your plan. Thanks for watching today's session. I'm excited to see you apply these to your plan and how it's going to help transform you into being a better player. I want to offer private lessons. If you're looking to want to take this, what you've learned, to the next level, you can inbox me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or you can email me at jonestony1981@me.com, and we'll get your lesson set up. There's a 30-minute option, 60-minute option, which is the one that I prefer the best. And then also you can get your lessons at a package deal. Buy 4 lessons and I'll give you a nice discount. So hit me up. I'm also doing group lessons. I've done lessons for churches, clinics. I can travel and do lessons. So let me know how I can help you. I'm also on the road playing for conferences as a pianist, organist, music director. So if you need my services, you can contact me. I would love to work with you. All right. Thanks for watching. And we're going to do this again more and more. And I can't wait till next time. See you. Bye-bye.